Greetings, 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 greetings. Osio, Mabriqua, Sakafet, Sakpase. What it is, what it is, what it is. What a go on. Hope everybody is doing fine today. It's a beautiful day, man. It's a beautiful day to be alive. The continuation of life is a great thing. All right. Um, I'm gonna, start off, a little early. Normally I do the videos a little later, but we were supposed to go canoeing today, but it's a little rainy outside, so we're not gonna do that. So I'm like, why not just do a live? And I got another great bill for y'all. So we're about to get into this. Do me a favor, guys. Share the video, share the link on your Facebook page, and let's get as many people in as possible. All right. Once again, my purpose for sharing information is to awaken the dead. You know what I'm saying? People who are indoctrinated, people who are brainwashed, just sharing information, man. Sharing is caring. And that's what I'm doing today. All right. As usual, that's what I do. Let me give me a second here. Let me just I'm just giving you guys some time to get on, all right? Let me look for something real quick. Share the link, share the link, share the link. Let's get this popping. Get as many people as we can as possible, all right? Let's get this popping. Copy link address. Go ahead. All right. For those of you who are willing to, to support, the work that I do and the information that I bring, the information is in the link below. So I give my gratitude and thanks in advance. All right. I just want to give thanks to the Great Spirit for, just giving me the breath of life to continue doing what I'm doing. Give thanks to Mother God for creating me. You know what I mean? Give thanks to my ancestors, my spiritual parents, everyone who came before me that made it possible for me to be here, because I am them and they are me. All right. So as I continue my journey and my growth, I just ask, for continued guidance and protection. And that's it, man. All right. But today we got another great build. And I'm not here to debate this. I'm not here to argue this. I'm just going to give you the facts. All right. Now, for the most part, the words that I'm going to kind of like go over in this build, I put those in the link below. So once again, I don't want nobody saying, oh, well, Chief Kalanago said this. No, let us look at the facts. I'm giving you the information. All right. And it's up to you to go do your own research. All right. But I'm giving the facts. You feel me? And today, what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about pretty much man. Who is man? Who is woman? Who or what is God? I'm going to talk about the sun, the moon. I'm going to talk about the earth. I'm going to talk about planets, stars. I'm going to talk about the cosmos. I'm going to talk about, the universe, okay? Because too many people have a perception of what things are based on what they were taught, okay? So let us go to the root of every word to see if we really know what we think we know. You feel me? Because I'm telling you, what you think you know, you don't know. But quick question, are you guys hearing me? I'm okay? I need to know if you guys are hearing me okay. And big up to, Chris Cole, always sharing that knowledge as well. I need to know if you guys are hearing me. Let me know, please. I need, if you could hear me, just hit, 1 or yes, whatever. So we could get into this. Well, I hope y'all could hear me. I mean, I could hear myself, but just want a confirmation. That's all. Confirmation. Confirmation that you guys could hear me. That's all. All right, let me check. All right, so I'm not getting any feedback. Let me check my volume and see if it's up. Give me a second, guys. Okay, all right, so let me go to my settings. Let me check my volume because nobody's responding. So let me make sure my volume is up. But if you guys wasn't hearing, you probably would have told me that already, huh? But anyway, let me just check for sure. All right, alert, volume. All right, computer volume. Okay, that's up. Play sound. Okay, so I just turned it up a little bit. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to assume that you can hear me because nobody's responding. So I'm just going to get into the build, all right? Because I need to know if my audio is good. Because I don't want to be talking to myself and thinking like you guys could hear me and all of a sudden there's no sound. That would be like literally a waste of an hour and a half to 2 hours of the information I'm going to share. Hey, Chris Cole, brother, do me a favor. Let me know if you could hear me. I just need a confirmation on that. Jason Chambers, anybody who got on, James Winters, anybody who's on the live chat, let me know if you could hear me. Okay. That's a little weird. Okay, good, perfect. I think I got a thumbs up, so I'm assuming that you guys could hear me, right? Okay, great. All right, Kanoa, let me know if you could hear me. I'm gonna just get into it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the etymology of words. All right, the etymology of the words, because for us to really get a true understanding, and I tell people when they study, especially reading information that their whole foundation is built on, you have to know the root of the word. All right, thank you. You have to know the root of the word because there's a difference between a meaning and a definition. A meaning is essentially the root and the origin, the development of the word. When the word was being formed, it's taking you back to the mindset of the creator of the word, all right? Or within that era, what they were doing to formulate that word, the energy that was being put in the word, in the formation of the word. Essentially, that's what etymology is, going to the root, the foundation. However, etymology has evolved into what's called definition. The definition is more so of a perception, all right, an experience based on what you perceive the word to be. That's more of a definition. So sometimes, for the most part, you will find that a definition and the etymology of the word, it has close relation, but it's not the same. So today, for the purpose of this message, we are only going to deal with the etymology of the word and not the definition of the word. So we are going to go to the root, all right? For those of you who don't know what etymology is, once again, all that information is I put it in the link of the description of the video. So you have clickable links. I made it real easy so that you don't have to go look at everything that I'm saying. All right, the key things the topics that I'm going to talk about, the link is right there. So all the work is pretty much done. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the etymology of etymology, right? Hey, why not, right? So let's go look at that, all right? I'm going to click on that, and I can't see the screen because I'm going to be reading right now. Eventually, probably Facebook would have a more efficient way for us to share our screen so you could actually see what I'm showing. But I'm going to read. And this is the etymology of etymology. It's a noun. Late 14th century, etymologia, facts of the origin and development of a word. We could stop right there. Facts. So once again, I'm dealing with facts and not opinions. So the people who formulated the word, they are telling you what it means. So we're not going to play any semantics today, all right? We're not going to do the word play. We're just going to go straight into etymology, and it is what it is. I didn't create it. The people who formulated the word, they're telling you what an etymology is, okay? facts of the origin, not opinions, not perceptions, but facts of the origin and the development of a word. Okay? Now, I'm just going to leave it as that. Well, let us read a little more. It says, from Old French, etymology, modern French, from Latin, you have an analysis of a word to find its true origin. Okay? Its true origin. Properly study of the true etymology of a word. With logia, study of a speaking of. Okay? True sense, original meaning. Nurture of etymos, the true, real, actual, related to etios, true, which perhaps is a cognate with Sanskrit. All right, so once again, we are going back to the true essence of what a word means or meant, the energy it meant to carry. So that is the true definition of etymology. All right, so, and I know the indoctrination is real. All right, brainwashing is real. So once again, my goal is to give you the information to start evoking some form of enlightenment within your being, so you could start questioning everything that we were taught. All right, and not here to convince you of anything. Once again, I'm just here to share information. So now that we know what the etymology is, we're going to start from the beginning based on the book that was given to us. All right, many of us, for me, I could only tell you my story. When I grew up, like I said, on a very small island in the Caribbean, and I grew up in a Christian home. All right, for those of you who don't know, well, I'm certainly sure pretty much everybody know what a Christian is, or who a Christian is, right? But the denomination that my family belonged to, or the church that they attended, was a Pentecostal church. All right, and of course, you know, at a very early age, they start teaching us the Bible, and everything in the Bible is the word of God, so to speak. But at the age of 5, all right, my spirit was starting to be a little bit, rebellious to going to church at the age of 5. And for some reason, everybody was Jesus, 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 and that just didn't resonate with my spirit at the age of 5. So I started asking questions. I never really used the term or the word Jesus because it just never resonated with me. However, I continued to use the word God or the term God, right? Okay. But by me asking questions, everybody would always tell me, well, that's what the Bible say, and that's what it is. So don't question God. But that just didn't make sense to me. And the older that I got, the more questions I asked, it seems like the more angry people got at me. Okay? At some point when I didn't want to go to church, I got whoopings for not wanting to go to church. All right? But something happened within my family, right? My mother remained a hardcore Christian, Pentecostal, which she still is today. No judgment here. Everybody do what they got to do. We all got our own path to walk. And today, me doing this lecture or giving you this message is not to tell you to live your religion. Is not to try to change you from what God is or who God is. I'm just going to give you the facts, and then you make a determination as to what you want to do with your own belief. Okay? So with that being said, my father was a Christian as well, but for some reason, he found himself attending another church. So he became a member of another denomination, which was at that time called Yahweh, the Yahweh faith. So now I'm in a home with 2 parents, right? And now it's unequally yoked. My mother is a Christian, believe in the Bible, God and Jesus and all that. And my father, on the other hand, he stopped believing in Jesus, and now it's Yahweh. But at the same time, they keep saying it's the same person, but the name is a problem, because one is saying this is the name, one is saying this is the name. And when you read both books, they are both similar. It's all parallel, but at the same time, the only disagreement is the name. And I saw what religion did to my small family. Okay? Literally, religion caused some chaos. And from that moment, I wasn't a big fan of religion. But that came in as a sort of like a gift to me, all right, in a sense, because when it was time for me to go to the Christian church, I would say, you know what, I don't want to go to the Christian church because my father don't believe in that. But when it's time to go to my father's church, now I would have to say, well, I don't believe in that. So now I was literally caught in the middle. So sometimes I just took a little, a little beating not to go to church, period. Or if I do go, when I went to church, I went in the basement because they had a basement with chairs and a lounge area where people would go eat and take a break and children would play. So all the children, man, we would just be downstairs playing while the folks upstairs jumping up and doing what they got to do, right? So anyway, getting older, my own personal, would I say, belief or faith, whatever you may call it, into my own understanding of who I am, it gave me a better understanding of what the Most High is, okay? The Great Spirit. And I'm just going to share that with you. But for me to really get my own understanding of that, I had to go into looking at the true etymology of words when I learned that etymology existed. So I started from the very beginning. So I took the Bible, right, which is supposedly the gospel truth. Well, we all know the Bible is not about, well, for me, I can only speak for myself. I don't subscribe to the Bible as being the gospel of eternal life. That's not what the Bible is. The Bible, to me, in my own understanding, of course, the Bible is all allegory. And it says that in Galatians, okay? What is an allegory? An allegory is a word that means that it shouldn't be taken literally. So why are we taking the Bible literally? That's number one. That's my number one question. If it tells you in Galatians that it's all allegory, why are you taking it literally? If the allegorical Jesus spoke in parables, then why are you taking it literally? It was a parable. It was meant to symbolize something else. You feel me? So for me, the Bible is a journey of a certain nation, a bloodline of people that they showed their journey and their path. All right, their inception into this world, okay, or into civilization, so to speak, mixing with other races, they are showing their genealogy. Hence the term Genesis deals with Genesis, genealogy. Okay, so that's, to me, again, in my own understanding, it deals with the genealogy of a certain nation and their descendants. That's number one. And here comes the New Testament to solidify what the Old Testament said, which deals more with laws. So though that was the laws of that certain tribe or nation of people and their descendants, and those were their laws, it doesn't mean that it was meant for the entire world. Okay, I'm gonna give you a typical example. If me, I'm Anyanwea and Carrot, right? So if we, as the Anyanwea people, we decided to write a Genesis about the Anyanwea people, okay? And we started teaching that. And the more we grow and we took our own story and we went around the world, we pillaged, we raped, we murdered, and forced our own story of creation and our family lineage of our Genesis onto other people. All of a sudden, 2,000, 3,000 years later, everybody's talking about, man, we all Anyanwea. When the truth of the matter is, that wasn't the case from the very beginning. So in essence, that is exactly what happened with the Bible and that genealogy, or that Genesis, so to speak. Okay? So when you read and you look at etymology of words, then you will get exactly where I'm coming from with that. All right, so let me come back real quick because, like I said, I'm actually just read, so I'm not seeing the chat right now. So let me just go back to the chat. Okay? And once again, I tell people, for me, I use the mind that the Most High give me. Okay? I'm not here to have any man or woman lead me down a path of destruction or confusion. You dig? I need understanding for self, knowledge of self. You see what I'm saying? Study to show yourself improve. And that's what I've done. And therefore, I'm sharing that information with you. Okay? Now, let us go look at the etymology of God, because it says in Genesis, in the beginning. All right? When we go to Genesis chapter 1, I'm looking at the King James Version. It says what? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, we know what the earth is because we see the creation. All right. We assume that we know what heaven is based on what religion has taught us, but do you really know what heaven means? And today we're going to get into the etymology of what heaven, all that is. We literally going to break this down and we're going to go into it because I think it's imperative that people know this information so they're able to live their lives with a better understanding of what the Bible is talking about and start finding their own truth, okay, or the truth rather, because I mean, truth is based on perception and experience, right? So everybody's truth is different, all right? So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So like I said, we know what the earth looks like, right? But God created the heaven and the earth. So who's God? Where did God come from? Okay, what does God mean? And it says in Genesis chapter 2, and the earth was without form and void. We are going to look at all those definitions, void, and it says darkness was upon the face of the deep, right? The face of the deep. When we speak of the deep, we speak of water, right? The water is deep, the ocean is deep, right? But darkness, I tell people darkness is not blackness. It's two different things, all right? Black absorbs every visible light on the spectrum. Once again, black surfaces or black absorb, for black to exist, all right, that surface have to absorb every visible light. So black doesn't have every color, like I stated before, but however, it absorbs colors that's visible to light. So darkness is not black. Darkness, on the other hand, is void of a light. Okay, void of light. If I turn this light off, then you're going to have darkness. And if I turn the light on, then it exposes the darkness, right? So therefore, that's all that this means. The earth was void, and it was all dark. And the Spirit of God moved on the face of the waters. So therefore, when the earth was formed, it was all water. So therefore, everything came from water. All right? Everything came from the oceans. Just so we put that in perspective. So we're going to look at the etymology of God. Like I said, God. And I put all that information in the link. All right? So you guys could have that in the chat. Okay? What am I doing here now? Okay, here we go. The etymology of God, a noun. Also God, Old English, God, supreme being, deity, the Christian God, image of God, godlike person. Now, so when you see right there in the etymology, it's telling you what? God is associated with the Christian God. Okay? So I'm assuming that every other religion, belief, sect, denomination, they have different names for God. But however, in its generic etymology, meaning it is the supreme being, right? So if you don't want to say God, you could say supreme being, supreme deity, right? But however, the Christian God, image of God, godlike person, okay? It says, nous, Gothic, God, which is of an uncertain origin. So therefore, the word God is of an uncertain origin. So if the people who created the word God is telling you that it's of an uncertain origin, how do you know that you're using the proper term for the supreme being? And that is just a question that I have, okay? Now it says perhaps from pi, it says perhaps, meaning that it's not conclusive, but there's a possibility, perhaps from pi gut, which is G-H-U-T, that which is invoked. Now, to me, that makes more sense. Now, the reason why I'm saying that make more sense is because these people who gave us the words and God and these etymologies, they have studied indigenous people around the world. And within indigenous culture, what did we do? We evoked the spirit of those who came before us, all right? Or those who have transcended. That's what we did. We evoked their spirit. So as you could see, it says from pi gut, which means invoked, source of old church Slavonic savo, to call, Sanskrit huta, invoke, an epithet of indra, right? From root gu, to call, to invoke. The notion could be could be divine entity summoned to a sacrifice, right? So at the end of the day, the notion could be divine entity summoned to a sacrifice, but some trace it to pi gu to poured, from root gu to pour what? A libation. Isn't that what indigenous people do? We pour libations, we invoke the spirit of our ancestors who came before us. So literally everything you see in the Bible, okay, it came from nations of people. Their experience, when they look in nature and they see what other people are doing, the similarities in culture. So therefore they came up with a word that encompasses all these rituals and all these practices that they see people do. Hence the word God, supreme being, all right? To invoke. What does invoke means? That's a word you have to go look up, right? To invoke, to call upon, to wake up, to awaken, right? To pour a libation. All of that is the etymology of God. So therefore, when people say, well, I believe in God, so yes, I do use the word God, but when I use the word God, I use it because I know the etymology of the word. When I say that I'm a God, what am I saying? I have evoked the spirit of my ancestors. I pour libations. So their spirit is alive in me. To me, that's what God means, based on the etymology. So I'm going to the root of the word, not what people tell me it means. Okay, not what people tell me it means. Now it says, let me just continue here for a second. To pour also in phrase kut, Gaia poured earth, referring to a burial mound. Where did they have mounds? Mounds notorious. Well, the Americas are notorious for having mounds. So once again, these people look at cultures, predominantly the cultures in the Americas, and they created all these things. Now, I'm not making it up. I'm showing you what it is, right? Given the Greek facts, the Germanic form may have referred in first instance to the spirit immanent in a what? A burial ground. Let us read that again. Given the Greek facts, it didn't say opinion. Chief Kalanago is not the one saying that. I'm giving you the etymology of the word God. It says, given the Greek facts, the Germanic form may have referred in the first instant to the spirit immanent in a burial ground. In a burial mound. Once again, what landmass on the face of this earth is notorious for having mounds? So what did our ancestors do? They evoked the spirit of their ancestors that were buried in mounds. They poured libations. In essence, that word God pretty much covers all what I just said. So once again, God is not a sky daddy up in the sky or this one deity like the religion try to make you think. It's more of an action word, okay? But yes, it could be a noun, but it's more of an action word. To invoke. To invoke something is an action. You have to do something in order to invoke anything. To invoke a spirit, you have to do an action, right? To pour a libation, you have to do an action. So the action is placed in the noun in the word God. So let us continue again. Popular etymology has long derived God from good, but a comparison of the forms shows this to be an error. Moreover, the notion of goodness is not conspicuous in the heathen conception of deity, and in good itself, the ethical sense of comparatively late century dictionary, 1897. Originally, a netcher or a netter, noun in Germanic, the gender shifted to what? Masculine, after the coming of Christianity. So once again, I'm going to prove some things to you that some of you may have heard of, but didn't quite know how to articulate it or break it down. But I'm gonna be a little bit more profound and a little more detailed, and I'm gonna once again I've seen and heard people do videos saying that the black woman is God. Now, I agree in some instances, okay, that the melanated woman is God, but not the black woman, because there's no such thing as a black woman. Black people don't exist. All right, so I'm going to put all that in perspective. And once again, we are going to the etymology of the word. So how can you argue? How is anybody going to debate and argue the people who gave you the word, created the word, formed the word, and told you exactly what it meant? I want to see you debate that and prove me wrong. Anyway, I'm not looking for challenges. I'm just here to share the information. So let us read that again. And for those of you who want to follow along, I have all those links in the description. So if you want to read along with me, that will be fine. So I'm looking at the second link, not the etymology one, but the one that says God. All right. It says originally, like we say what? We are the original Americans, right? Meaning that nobody came here before us. We have always been here. So we are the original Americans. So let us not get the term original misconstrued, okay? Originally a netter, noun in Germanic, the gender shifted to masculine after the coming of Christianity. So therefore Christianity is based on a false narrative, okay? It is based on a false narrative because they are teaching you that God, or the concept of God, is a male deity, when the truth of the matter is it's actually a woman. And that's facts. Because the further back you go into antiquity, it was the so-called, well, it was the melanated woman who was actually worshipped. She was the one that's put on a pedestal. Even the Pope worshiped the dark-skinned woman or the melanated woman and child in their basement. And that's facts. So if y'all don't know who y'all true God is, go look at your mama, okay? Go look at your sister. Go look at your aunt. Go look at your female cousins. That's God in essence. And I'm talking about in terms of a deity. But when we speak of God in action, we are talking about to invoke, to pour a libation, to raise the spirit of those who came before us. Once again, it depends on the context of what we are using God. Okay? So I just wanted to make that clear. I'm going to come back to you guys because I was reading, so I'm going to come back to you guys now. All right? All right, so hope we are good. Once again, do me a favor. I know it's a little early. People may still be at work, so share the link, share the link, share the link, share the link. Let's get this thing popping. What's up, Omni, Natura, Marshall, Janelle, Pusha, Heru, just giving you guys a couple of shout out, man, and anybody else, you know, who's tuning in right now. Taz, Marcus, all right, Jason, like I said before, James, Chris Cole, and Anthony, Lowe, Soraya, Miko, Osha, Albert, and I think Vidal, something like that. Just wanted to give you guys a shout out to let y'all know I appreciate that. And we're not going to go to hell today, so we're not saying hello, all right? I'm not really accepting that curse, but I am going to say hi, and I'm going to send out some, you know, some blissful energy to you, all right? So we ain't going to hell today. You know what I mean? It's all good. It's all good. It's all good, sis. It's all good. All right. So we have looked at the definition. Well, not the definition, but the meaning of etymology itself. And then we have just looked at the etymology of the word God. All right. So when we go back to Genesis 1, it says that now that we know God created the heaven and the earth, so a spirit, okay, that was invoked, all right, created all this. All right, an earth that was without form. It was void, okay? Now, we're going to look at the next word, void. Let us look at the etymology of the word void. All right, we putting all this Genesis stuff in perspective. things that pastors are not going to teach you. All right. Void, an adjective. Okay. 13th century, unoccupied, vacant, from Anglo-French and Old French void, vide, empty, vast, wide, hollow, waste, uncultivated, fallow, as a noun, opening hole, loss, or loose rather, unoccupied, vacant, related to vacare, be empty. So in essence, okay, void means vacant, to leave abandoned, right? So when they came into our land, into the Americas, I'm kind of like, diverting a little bit, getting off topic, right? When they came into the Americas, they claimed the land to be abandoned, to be void, right? So if it's abandoned, then that means they could do what? They could take our property, right? They could take our land, and that's exactly what they did. You feel me? Because if it's abandoned, then that means it's void. It's empty, it's vacant. The people that were there, we didn't acknowledge them. All right? It was empty, space. So that's what void means. So therefore, when we go back to Genesis and we look in the beginning, all right, the heavens and the earth was created and it was without form and void. Without form and void, it was empty. No form. Without form means there wasn't any materialistic things just yet. It was just water, okay? And water occupies whatever space that it takes, all right? Regardless of what the form is, water will literally fill the space that it's in. So it was just the earth with water. So now we know what void means. Let us go look at, let me see. I got to go read again. All right, so we have God, we did void. Now, when you go further down into Genesis, right? Let me get that verse for you. I think it's chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, I think. 26, 27. Okay, let's do the King James Version. Here we go. So we're going to break down a few things today. So we spoke about God, we spoke about void. Now we're going to talk about man and woman, the creation of man and woman, because we know in between, before man and woman came, you had the plants, you had the fish, you had the animals. Basically, we had the fixtures, all right? That was the decoration, so to speak, before man and woman came. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to Genesis chapter 26, I think it is. And it says, and God said, let us make man in our image. Now, the first thing we have to look at here is the word us. Us is plural. Us is plural. So when God said, let us, who is the us that they are talking about? Now, religion will tell you, well, that is the Son, Jesus, right? Well, how is that two men somewhere in heaven chilling and they're making babies? That don't sound right to me, because I've never seen a man make a baby. And today, I mean, what we did, a male, so to speak, okay? Because we associate man with male. But I'm going to prove that wrong today, okay? So therefore, us, let us, it's plural. So who's the us? And then when you question, religion people, okay, or religious fanatics, then they would say, well, it is the Trinity, right? The Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And they tend to make the ghost a masculine figure. Once again, that don't sound right to me. Three men chilling somewhere in a place called heaven, and all of a sudden they making babies. I don't subscribe to that. Okay? So that's a fallacy. You feel me? At some point, there had to be a woman in the mix. And that was done intentionally to take the woman out of the picture, because when we go back to the etymology of the word God, you would see that what? It was feminine until it became masculine because of Christianity. All right? So right there, the basis of these religions, it is literally stands on lies and deception, because they wanted to take the power away from the woman, or what we call a woman. Okay? They wanted to take the power away from them. Now it says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Now, if you're going to make something in the image of something, man, listen, and likeness, that's a split, that's your twin. And it says what? And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So therefore, like I said from the beginning, before man came, everything else was created for the convenience of man. All right? For the convenience of man. Now, I have a question to ask, and which I ask a lot of pastors, because you see, a lot of pastors and preachers and ministers, etc., they don't like talking to me because they get upset. They get into the emotions when I ask these logical questions, and they try to divert, because I know they are playing games with the people. It's all a business. All right? It's a club. It's a membership. And if you don't pay your membership, you're not welcome in the club. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Let us make man in our likeness and image. So if we were to look at man as just male, then where's the woman? So once again, you are telling me, based on what I'm seeing, if I were to look at this and just took it literally, you are telling me that the us is, and the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost is three men. That says, let us make man. In other words, let us make everything like us in our image. So therefore, it's all men. So how did they make the children? If we were just to look at, stop at 26, chapter 1, verse 26. Let us just stop there for a second. Let us not go to the next one, to 27. Let's just say Genesis ended right there on verse 26. How did they make the babies? So obviously, man doesn't just mean male. Okay? Like I said, I'm going to debunk all this stuff and put this to light so you guys will have a true understanding of what this really means. Okay? The metaphysical meaning to a certain extent of what this means. A deeper understanding, so to speak. Okay? So therefore, man encompasses both masculine and feminine. Well, Chief, how can you confirm that? How can you solidify what you're saying? Well, let us go to verse 27. It says what? So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male, and female created he them. So therefore the them is literally existed in man. Male and female existed in man. And I'm going to prove to you today what you call man today is not a man. Now, some of you may say, well, Chief, you bugging, you're crazy, right? What you taking, what you're drinking, well, I'm just drinking distilled water. I'm very sane. Okay? We're going to have some fun today. Let me just come back to the chat real quick. Because like I said, I'm reading, so I can't see. It says, what about the etymology of word? Well, that's a good thing, right? We have to go look at the etymology of the word, but I'm looking at the etymology of the words that they gave us, right? So whether we call it words or not, whatever it is that we call words, that's what I'm looking at the etymology of, okay? So you may have to go look at the etymology of word yourself, because to me, it doesn't have any relevance to what I'm talking about right now. Whether I call pig a word or dog a word or not, that's irrelevant. I'm looking at the etymology of pig or dog. So I'm looking at the etymology of God and void and all those different things, right? But you could look at the etymology of word, Marcus, and see what it means, right? Okay, so here we go. So now that we are kind of like breaking this down, right? So we're going to go back to Genesis 26 again, and God said, let us. So we know that's plural. So who are we speaking of? They say, well, it's the Trinity. Well, here you go. The Trinity is actually woman, okay? Woman, man, and child. That's the real Trinity, all right? And that was made in the likeness. But it says, let us make man. What does that mean? Man. And it says in 27, so God created man. Once again, I'm asking, where's the woman? You see, that is the great question. But what people don't know is what they call man is not truly a man. I am not a man. And some people will look, oh, man, Chief, what are you talking about? I'm not a man. And I'm going to break that down to you. All right? In his own image, in the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. So therefore, in man, there is female and there is male. All right? So man encompasses the two. And this is how Chief is going to break it down for y'all today. I drew a little picture. Now, I'm not the best artist in the world. As a matter of fact, I never said I was an artist. But anyway, I'm going to do my best and break it down for you, okay? So, brothers and sisters, let me teach y'all something today, okay? This right here, I hope you could see this, okay? Hope we could see this little image that I drew, okay? Right here. Let me see, my screen is frozen here for a second. Let me see. Can you guys see this, please? Can anybody verify that or confirm that y'all could see this? Give me a thumbs up on that, or just say yes if you can. I really need some participation, brothers and sisters, because I know paper is light, but the longer you hold it up, your hands get tired. So I just want to know real quick. Can y'all see this? Can y'all see this? All right, too much light. Okay, let me see if I can turn this light off. All right, how about this now? All right, good, thank you. All right, so y'all can see this, right? Perfect. Okay, so this is what Genesis is talking about. Right here, what does this look like? Right here. Everybody would look and think this is a woman, right? Everybody would say, well, Chief, that's a woman. No, that's man, okay? The original man is what we call woman today, all right? I'm talking about breast and a vagina. That's the original man, okay? And God said, let us create man in our image. In other words, God, which is us, only knew how to replicate themselves, because in her existed what? And God said what? Let's create he, them, male and female, which is here. You have the male, all right, the one with the penis, right here, and the female, the one with the breast. So therefore, we are all womb man, because we came from the womb of the original man. Brothers and sisters, this is what it means. So therefore, in man exists male and female, which is womb man. So we are all womb man. I am not a man. I'm a womb man. I came from the womb of a man. Well, Chief, you sound crazy. How can you prove that? Well, let me ask you a question. What is the only species right now, I'm talking about in terms of people, that could only have children, male and female? I'll wait. I will wait. I'm going to wait. What is the only, let me ask you a question, right? Can I naturally have male and female children? Can I do that right now? No, I can't. Because I'm not the original man. I'm a womb man. I came from the womb of the original man. So therefore, when God spoke and said, let us create man, okay, God is talking about the possibility of an entity, a being. Within them, God could pull out the masculine energy and the feminine energy and make the masculine energy male and the female and the feminine energy female. All right, and I'm gonna further prove that to you as well. So once again, I'm gonna show y'all this little drawing. Like I said, I'm not the best artist in the world, but for the purpose, the intended purpose of the presentation, let's hope that you're able to see my perfect drawing, right? So once again, let us make man. This is man right here, okay? The original man. That's the original man. And in that man exists the masculine and the feminine energy, which is male and female, and they are all woman. Woman didn't exist until the manifestation in the flesh. Okay? Woman is physical, but man is spiritual. That was the generic man. Okay? The blueprint, so to speak, the prototype. That was the concept of man. Now, within the concept of man, the Creator said, okay, you know what? From that concept, from that blueprint, let us create this, male and female, from the womb of the original man. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, I hope that makes sense. Some people may say, hey, well, Chief, you're bugging. Well, prove me wrong. All right, now let us go to confirm that. Let us go to the next definition. Let us go look at, let's go all the way to the 2nd chapter in Genesis when God created Adam, right? God created Adam, but yet still they told us in Genesis that Eve, which is a woman, came from the rib of the man, Adam. How could that be? Obviously, that wasn't meant to be taken literally, because a man cannot have a baby. We have never seen a man have a baby, right? Never. That's impossible. Naturally, that is. Because today, you know, they do anything. But naturally, it's not going to happen. So here's the breakdown of that. When you go look at the word rib in Hebrew, okay, it means side. Rib, side, leg, beam, hemetech, okay? But basically it's the side. That's what it means, the side. So the rib encompasses the womb. So therefore, when they say that Eve came from the rib of the man, it's kind of like telling the truth, but at the same time not telling the truth, because they're not telling you what man is. Adam wasn't a male. Adam was a female. Okay? Adam was a female, the true generic sense of the man. All right? And from her womb, she created Eve. Now, whether you say Eve was a man or not, I'm talking about the children, the next generations to come. They all came from the womb of that man, if that makes sense. So once again, they are playing wordplay, because there's no way men could have babies. But however, the woman, okay, came from the womb, the rib area, the side of the man. And that's all it means. It didn't mean that the man had a child. And I'm talking about the male man, okay, didn't have a child. So that could be, may seem a little confusing, but when you have a true understanding of what all this means, you will know exactly what you are talking about. All right? So let me just ask if this makes sense, or do I need to elaborate on that some more? Well, again, once again, I'm just going based on what the Bible is talking about, right? I'm going based on what the Bible is talking about, because that's what people think to be the ultimate truth. You feel me? That's what people call the Holy Ghost. You see what I'm saying? And the truth to salvation. And I'm just talking about, once again, we're not talking about metaphysical meaning of words per se. We are just going based on the etymology of the words that's in the Bible, because they have a complete different etymology, because all that stuff in the Bible, literally everything comes from within. And I give a typical example yesterday when I did a build, right? When I spoke of the 12 disciples, the 12 disciples are actually the 12 faculties in man. And how did I know that? Because when I was reading the Bible, I used a Bible dictionary. So I know exactly what all this stuff means. But when you look at basic sense, you don't have to be a scholar to look at things and let it make sense for yourself or to yourself, right? And once again, man, listen, any man who's on here trying to convince me that the woman came from his rib, man, listen, I don't even want to talk to y'all right now, because that is pathetic. I have never seen a man make a baby. The same way people talking about, oh, we evolved from monkeys. How is that all of a sudden monkeys stop making humans? Like, come on, man, we got to stop. All right, we got to stop. This male-dominated society has done nothing but take away the power of the woman. That's what they do. They have taken away the power of the woman. And I showed you that in the very inception of the video, the etymology of the word God. was feminine, but Christianity made it what? Masculine. And I'm going to ask you logical questions. What's the only being right now where a man and a woman, so to speak, could come from the womb? Can anybody answer that question for me? No one has ever proven me wrong. What is the only being on earth right now that could make a male and a female child? It is what we call a woman. So therefore, if in the beginning the man was the only being that could do that, then obviously what we call woman today is actually the man. And once manifestation, the flesh, took place, then everyone is a woman because they came from the womb of the original man, which is what we call a woman today. Once again, like I said, I'm looking for somebody to prove me wrong with this. All right? So therefore, let us look at things for what they are. All right? So let us go to the next one. Like I said, when you go look at the word rib, it means side. So literally, it wasn't literal that God took the rib of a man to make a woman. No, it just meant that the woman, we are all women because we came from the womb, all right? You know, came from the rib area. In other words, we came from the stomach, all right? The womb of the original man, okay? A lot of times, we as a people, we tend to just sit by and allow people to tell us anything, right? And what I'm telling you today, I don't want you to just take it literally and think it's the gospel. I would like you to do your own research. Let it make sense to you in your own way. All right? Information most times is not wrong. Most information sometimes just needs some building on, some improvements. That's all. Now, I may be right. I may not be completely correct. I don't know. But I'm telling you based on my own understanding and what I'm reading. And I'm letting it make sense to me. Instead of sitting somewhere and having somebody tell me what it means, the Creator, the Most High, gave me a mind to think for myself. And logically thinking, okay, I'm talking about logically thinking, looking at the information, I'm seeing what it's saying. That's just all I'm just saying, right? So let us go and look at a few other words, right? He says the masculine body is an exact copy of the feminine body. So I get what you're saying. I mean, in essence, right? And Rex, you know, again, I'm not looking for people. I appreciate that, right? And I'm not looking for people to agree with me or disagree with me. All right. All I'm just saying is I'm dropping the information from a different perspective based on what they are saying in the book. Because we all know, based on the Bible, the world is 6,000 years old. But scientifically, that has been debunked thousands of times. Hence, the point that I made earlier, the Bible is a story and the genealogy of a race of people and their descendants. All right? My ancestors are not Adam and Eve, because my ancestors predates Adam and Eve. You feel me? It predates Adam and Eve. And there has been many, many creations. And I'm going to, well, Chief, how can you prove it? Well, let's prove it again. Here's another question I always ask religious people. If Adam and Eve had only two children, Cain and Abel Abel killed Cain, and Cain killed Abel, right? Let's just say that Cain was having sex with his mother. As disgusting as that may sound, this is what the Bible is kind of telling us, right? But if we were not to look at it from that perspective, let us go further into Genesis when it says that when Cain was expelled from the garden, he found his wife in the land of Nod. Where did this mysterious woman came from? Once again, I am asking logical questions. I'm not here to deal with the myth. I'm not here to deal with the spooky stories and the fairy tale. Let us be logical. The Most High gave us a mind to think. So if Adam and Eve had two children, Cain and Abel, and Cain killed Abel, but yet still Cain was banished, all right, sent out of the Garden of Eden, and this man found a wife. Where did this wife come from? So obviously that's a contradiction. That's a lie. Hence, to prove my point again, that there were people that predated Adam and Eve. They existed. So Genesis is only talking about a certain gene of people, their genetics, their bloodline. And may I reiterate that my bloodline predates Adam and Eve, because my ancestors have been on this earth for millions of years. The new race of people they are talking about that came into Genesis is not my ancestors. Can anybody prove me wrong? So I'm validating everything that I'm talking about. Well, based on my own interpretation, that is. Okay, you may have a different view, and that's fine. Please do a video, a part 2 on this, and break it down the way that you comprehend it. I would love to look at it because, hey, like I said, I'm a master student. I love to learn. Okay? So that is just my take on that. To me, it's all fairy tales and teaching people things that children wouldn't even believe. And when children ask questions, you say, oh, shut up. It's the Bible. The Bible said it and it's true. No, we don't do that to our children. We are damaging our children. We are limiting their thoughts and their mind. We are limiting them when we ask them to believe these fairy tales. Okay, let them explore. Let them ask questions. And if you don't know, say, I don't know. Because apparently the majority of the people don't know, because they sit in a church like sheep and expect the pastor to tell y'all what is right or what's not right. When it's clear, it's very obvious the man is getting a paycheck. Okay? So I'm going to move on to different words, so to speak, or different topics, right? So we spoke about God, we spoke about the earth and void, and we spoke about man. Okay, we spoke about man. Now we're going to talk about heaven. Let us go look at the etymology of the word heaven, because once again, everybody seems to think that what people are telling them, these religious people are telling them, is the truth, right? So let's go look at the etymology of the word heaven. Let's go look at that for a second. All right. Heaven. The etymology of the word heaven. And all that stuff is in the link below, is in the description. I put all the links for y'all, so I save you the trouble of going to look at it yourself, right? Heaven, a noun. It says, home of God. Earlier, the visible sky. Okay? Firmament. Firmament. It says, probably from Proto-Germanic, a dissimulation of hymen, source also of Low German hymen, Gothic. Let me just see if I could go right. But it also says, which is of uncertain and disputed origin. So the word heaven is of an uncertain and disputed origin. It says, perhaps it means perhaps. That's not conclusive. Perhaps it means literally a covering. Hence, people may say that the world is a globe. Some people may say it's, a sphere, whatever it is. But if heavens literally means a covering, then to cover something, that means there have to be a surface, right? So maybe the earth is just a surface and the covering is just what called the heaven, based on the etymology of the word. I'm just going based on the etymology now. That's a speculation. And that's just my opinion. When it's my opinion, I'll let you know. When I'm dealing with facts, I'll let you know. So the fact is, it is a word of uncertain origin. And it says perhaps. There's a possibility it means a covering, which has also been proposed as the source of chemise or chemis. Watkins derived it elaborately from pi arc, sharp, stone, then stony vault of heaven. The English word is attested from late 14th century as a heavenly place, a state of bliss. So heaven doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing, so to speak. It could be a state of mind based on the etymology. It also says the plural use in sense of sky probably is from the Platonic or Ptolemaic theory of space as composed of many spheres, but it also formerly was used in the same sense in singular biblical language, a translation of Hebrew plural. Shamayim, heaven sent adjective attested from 1640s. So essentially, heaven is just what? An earlier divisible sky, the firmament, right? And it spoke of the firmament in Genesis. So let us go look at the etymology of earth. Etymology of earth, because we're going to bring all this into a 360, right? Now, I know I just jumped from God creating man to heaven. All that stuff is going to come into, like I said, into fruition, and I'm going to make the point that I want to make. Old English. Now, we're looking at the etymology of earth now. It says oop, ground, soil, dirt, dry land, country, district. Also used along with Medengird for material, world, the abode of man, as opposed to the heavens or what? The underworld, as opposed to the heavens or the underworld. So there is an underworld. So you have the heavens, so to speak, which is the firmament, all right, the skies, etc. And you have the earth, which is the ground, the soil, and you also have the underworld. What is the underworld? Is there life in the underworld? Possibly there is. Who knows, right? But it says there's an underworld. It says source also of Old Frisian earth, Dutch erd, Dutch erd, High German erder, basically perhaps from an extended pi root earth, round. The earth considered as a planet was so-called from the 14th century. So before the 14th century, the earth wasn't considered to be a planet. So how come all of a sudden the earth is a planet? Who make up these things as we go along? And that's why I always tell people everything we know today is because of what somebody else is teaching us. How much of our original thought do we have? Or are all our perceptions, our life is based on what everybody else is telling us? What is the original thought that we have of our own? Because everything we think of comes from a programming. Once again, I'm going to read it. The earth considered as a planet was so-called from 14th century. So therefore, in the 13th century, the earth wasn't even called a planet. Let's go to the next etymology. Universe. Universe. 1850s, 1580s. The whole world, the cosmos, the totality of existing things. So when people think of the universe, brothers and sisters, look at the etymology. The whole world, the cosmos, the totality of the existing things. So therefore, the universe is actually the earth, the world. The world is in the universe is the world, is the same thing. They are synonymous. The planets, that the so-called planets, is not outside of the world. It's within the world. Again, we are always being taught this misconceptions of things. Oh, well, we have been to this planet and it's outside Earth. That's not true. That's an illusion. That's not real. Nobody has ever gone outside of Earth. No one has ever gone outside of the world. Because we don't have the technology to do it ourselves, man, they could tell us anything. Anything. Okay? We look at the etymology of earth. We look at the etymology of the heavens. We look at the etymology of the universe. What does it say? Everything is within the totality. So when men talking about, oh, we've been out of space, out of what space? They haven't gone anywhere, brothers and sisters. They haven't gone anywhere. It's all a lie. It's an illusion. Okay? The whole world, the cosmos, the totality of existing things. All things, everybody, all people, the whole world. Noun as use of nature or netter of adjective universals. All together, all in one. Whole, entire, relating to all. Literally turned into one. Okay? Let us go look at the etymology of university. University. And you may ask, well, Chief, what does university have to do with the world and God and earth? Well, let us read here a little bit. 13th century, institution of higher learning. Also a body of persons constituting of a university. It says the whole isn't just what we just read. Universe meant the whole. Aggregate. In late Latin, corporation, society, a whole, entire. Whole, entire. And it says what? See, universe. So therefore, university derived from the word universe. So where did we get all our knowledge from? We got our knowledge from the universe, and men took that concept of learning everything in the universe, put you in a box called a school, a building, and create a university. When the truth of the matter is, the first university was what? The universe. So why do we have to go to these people's schools so that we could learn when everything is already out in the universe, which is the first university? That's why I wanted to show you the etymology of university, to show you that everything is a program to control your mind. They have to put you in a box. They have to put you in a building. They have to put you in these blocks so that you could get a degree. When the sun shines, when you measure the sun, what do you measure the sun with? You measure the sun in degrees. We already have degrees because we get the sun. You're already a master. You already got your masters. Because you are in the universe, you are of the universe is within you. The sun shines in you and on you, therefore you have all your degrees. You're already a master. But you see, you are limiting yourself. You are limiting your mind so that people could program you, put you in a box and say, hey, you know what? Come to this university, and the only way you are going to be, you're going to solidify your mastery, so to speak. You will get a piece of paper. And where do paper come from? Trees, right? Where do trees come from? The earth, right? The universe, right? The world, right? The totality, right? So we already had it all. Now, some people might say, Chief, you know what? You bugging, you taking this too far. But you know what? Man, listen. It's the crazy people in the world that have made changes, right? You feel me? At the end of the day, we already had it all, brothers and sisters. We already had it all. University came from what? Universe. That was the first university. And our ancestors learned from nature, in nature, right? And societies had to destroy nature, take that away from us, put us in a box so that the programming could start. And they take something out of nature and call it a degree and give it to you and make you a master when you were already a master. Like I said, maybe I'm just overthinking things, but I like to think for myself, right? So let us go look at the etymology of the word world. World. Human existence, the affairs of life. also a long period of time. Also the human race, mankind, humanity, a word peculiar to Germanic languages, cognates Old English, Frisian, world, Dutch, world, with a literal sense of age of man. All right. So once again, originally it says what? Life on earth. That is the world. But when people speak of the world, they speak of the universe. When people speak of the world, they speak of earth. But as you can see, the etymology is just basically, it means life on earth, which is kind of like, it's synonymous, but it's kind of like not the same. So the world is not the universe. It may be considered to be the universe, but the world is actually the lifespan of life on earth. Okay? It says, since extended the known world then to the physical world in the broadest sense. In the broadest sense, like I just said, the universe. Okay? In the broadest sense is the universe. But if we were to take it literally, okay, in its original context, what it was created or meant, it meant life on earth. That is what world was, or world is. Okay? Let us look at another definition of a word. Let us go look at the word star. Star, like the stars that shine. Star. It says star from Proto-Germanic, starnern, but let me just skip that for a second. It says astrological sense of influence of planets and zodiac on human affairs is recorded from mid-13th century. Hence, person's fate as figured in the stars. 16th century star-crossed, that's something different. So what we're looking at, are they really stars? Because let us look at the etymology of the word star. It says what? Astrological sense of the influence of planets and zodiac on human affairs is recorded from mid-13th century, hence person's fate as figured in the stars. And let us look at the verb. A star or an asterisk. To set with stars, meaning to perform lead part, that's something different. But nowhere in the etymology of the word it says that what you're looking at in the sky at night is called a star. That is nowhere in the etymology. It says in an astrological sense of influence of planets and zodiac on human affairs is recorded from mid-13th century, hence person's fate as figured in the stars. I still don't see a definition, or not definition, a meaning in the root of the word star that what you're looking at night is called a star. Now, am I bugging, or are we really seeing that? Now it says, let me see, this is from pi root stir. Let's look at that. Let's see what that means. Root meaning star. Buck and others don't suggestion that the borrowing is from the source of the common blah 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 Slavic. All right, so they gave another root, but it really doesn't say anything as to what we see at night is actually called a star. So once again, we're just questioning things, right? Just giving you information so you could do your own research on that. Let us go look at the moon, because once again, we just believe everything people tell us, right? Let us look at the moon. Heavenly body, which revolves about the earth monthly. Middle English moon from Old English mona, from Proto-Germanic manum. High Germanic mano, Old Frisian mona, Old Norse manai, Danish mayan or man, Dutch man, German maud or mound, Gothic mena, moon, moon month, source also of Sanskrit, masa, moon month. But here's the interesting thing. It says, in Greek, meni or men, moon, men, month. Latin, menes or mens or menses, month. And it says what? To measure, in reference to moon's phases as an ancient and universal measure of time. What is it? A masculine noun. So therefore, when people talk about the moon is feminine, the moon is not feminine. The moon is masculine. Okay? The moon relates to man. That's why the man affects the cycle of the woman. So like I said, everything you were taught is not the truth. Why do you think men have such an effect on the woman? Why do you think a man could affect a woman's cycle? Because the man is the moon. The man is the moon. Go look at the etymology. I'm not the one making it up. The people who created the word, they are telling you. Okay? The masculine in Old English. Armenian, the cognate words now means only month. All right? It's right here. But today, and it says extended in 1665 to satellites of other planets. However, in this day and age, people are saying that the moon represents the woman. No, it doesn't. The moon affects the woman, but the moon is not representing the woman. The moon is the man. Okay? Go look it up yourself. And I wanted to put the etymology of the words right next to the video in the description so you could see it for yourself. Okay? Let us go look at the etymology of sun. S-U-N. Old English, sun, the sun. Let us go to Old English. Sun was what? Feminine. Everybody say, oh, well, the sun is masculine. No, sun is feminine. So therefore, the woman was created, the real woman. The original man was actually what we call a woman today. Okay? That's why they keep telling you it's masculine. No, it's not masculine. It is feminine. And she was created to rule the day. All right? She was created to bring the heat, to bring to light up the day. She is the light of the world. And at night, when she calms down, then here comes the man. All right? That affects her cycles. Go look at the etymology. I'm not making it up. So the moon is masculine, man, and the sun is feminine. That's why the sun was worshipped, okay, back in ancient times. Because it was always a concept of the original man, which is what we call woman today, was what symbolizes God. Like I said, some of you might think I'm bugging, but I'm just showing you the information. I'm just giving you the information. You do what you want with it, but I'm giving you the information, right? Let's read this again. The sun was feminine, as generally in Germanic and femme pronoun was used in Old English until 16th century. Since then, masculine. All right? So when Christianity came about, they changed the sun, all right, from female to male. They changed God from female to male. And they changed the moon from masculine to feminine. Because they had to create a patriotic, a male-dominated society to kill the light. Brothers and sisters, our women, that's our light. And if you cannot honor your woman, okay, you cannot build our women, then guess what? We are killing our sons. We are killing our light. The woman exists in you. What we call a woman today, she exists in you. Okay? That's why you have a solar plex. That's why you have the sole of your feet. All right? Our women are literally carrying us around. Because she is our soul. She's the light of our world. Y'all better peep the game. But they got y'all disrespecting your son. You feel me? In every video, in every rap, lyrical music, she's a bitch, she's a hoe. And that's what we are teaching our young men. Go anywhere. I challenge you to go anywhere, any ethnic group. And I want anybody to prove me wrong. And find artists Give me any top 5 artists in any other ethnic group that go around calling their women bitches and hoes. I'll wait. I'll wait. Because they know the significance of their women. We, here in the American continent, we think we know it all and we're the best, and we don't know jack until we honor and pick up our women and put them in the rightful place that they belong. Man, listen, we ain't shh. Watch your mouth. No, I'm not saying that because I'm looking to appease women. No, I want our women to know their true worth. Okay? Let our women know their true worth and stop allowing anybody, I don't care if it's a man, another woman, society, stop allowing them to make your light, stop allowing them to stop your light from shining. You are the sun. And without you, this light will not shine. Why do you think they have chemtrails in the sky? Because they know what? This is an age where the feminine energy is stepping back up. So they have to block the sun because they don't want our women to step back up where they belong. Why is it at night there's no chemtrails? You see, me, it's logical thinking. The Most High gave me a mind to think, and I'm using it. Why do you think at night there's no chemtrail? You know why? Because the man ruled the night. The man ruled the night. So it's already patriotic. But they don't want the woman to shine, so they have to give you the chemtrail, the fake clouds, to block her from shining. I promise you, women will enjoy sex during the high peak of the sun, and a man will enjoy sex more at night. I promise you that. Why do you think they used to breed slaves during the high zenith of the sunlight? Because the women, they were more voluptuous. They were more perky. Y'all think it's a game, huh? Y'all gonna learn today. Y'all gonna learn today. Well, that's if you want to learn, that is. So realize the kind of world that we have been put in. It's a world of illusion, deception, lies. And trust me, all your pastors know the truth. They know. But once again, they are part of a sect, a cult. And there's nothing wrong with cults, as long as they are telling the truth. But they're part of a cult that's here to brainwash people. It's part of a business. And it's all for profit. That's all it's for. Okay? That's all it's for, is for profit. So the moon affects the woman's cycle, the sun's cycle. She's the light of the world, brothers and sisters. She's the light of the world. Why do you think Lucifer was called the morning star? Why do you think Lucifer was called the morning star? What is the morning star? Isn't the first thing you see in the morning, and of course I'm using the term morning, because that's what I'm talking about literally now. But I know morning is to moan, right? So I don't use that, right? But again, we are just sticking in context right now. Why do you think Lucifer is called the morning star? Because she's the sunrise. Why do you think Lucifer fell from heaven? Because they took her from her prestige, so to speak, from that pedestal, and they took her down to the lowest. What do you think happened to our women? Aren't our women at their lowest right now because of society degrading them? Got so many beautiful sisters doing porn to take care of their children, degrading our women. They're taking our light away, brothers and sisters. And our brothers need to know this. Man, what can I say? Let us go look at the etymology of planet. Planet, late Old English planet, from old planete, or planeter, from late planeta, from Greek planetes. It says wandering, in parentheses, stars. Okay, to wander. A word of what? Uncertain etymology. Okay, perhaps, once again, perhaps, that is not conclusive, perhaps from a nasalized form of the root pele or pale, flat, to spread. So if it says perhaps, the word planet came from flat. Why are we seeing planets that are round? I'll wait. Now, it says perhaps now, okay? So it's plausible. It's a possibility. It says to spread, on the notion of spread out. But the semantics are highly problematic according to the Bics, who note the similarity of the meaning to Greek plesion, to make devious, repel, dissuade from the right path, bewilder, but adds, it is hard to think of a formal connection, so-called because they have apparent motion, unlike the fixed stars, originally including also the moon and sun. Modern scientific senses of the world that orbits a star is from 1630s, and in large form of Greek planes, planetos, who wanders around, a wanderer. Also a wandering star, a planet in medicine, unstable temperature, right? So just to give you an idea of what all this means, all right, let us go look at the etymology of cosmos. Cosmos, 12th century, the universe. There we go. So the cosmos and the universe is the same. The world is the span of man life or human life on earth. Now you see how it all comes back into 360 fruition? So the cosmos is the universe. So when you go to a university, you're going to the cosmos, the makeup of things, right? Look at the word cosmetic, because it's in there as well. So we read the universe, the world, but not popular until 1848, when it was taken as the English equivalent to Humboldt's cosmos in translation of German from the Latinized form of Greek cosmos, order, good order, orderly arrangements. In other words, how we put things together, the makeup, right? A word with several main senses rooted in those notions. All right? And then it says here, thus cosmos had an important secondary sense of ornaments of a woman's dress decoration. Compare cosmomes, it says compare cosmocomes, dressing the hair, and cosmetic, as well as the universe, the world. Okay? When you look at cosmetic, it speaks of makeup, right? So we're going to come back to the live feed, because this is pretty much all the the words that I wanted to talk about here. All right, so let me come back here. What are your thoughts on all this, brothers and sisters? What are your thoughts on all this? I'm asking your opinions right now. What are your thoughts? Because once again, this is just my interpretation of how those things spoke to me. So I'm going to give a summary of everything that I spoke of. All right. When we go to the very beginning, it says, in the beginning, right, God created the heaven and the earth. It never said what was God. It just says God. So we went and looked at the etymology of the word God. Hence, the etymology of the word God means to evoke, all right, to pour a libation. So in essence, God is not really what people think it is. It's an action to evoke something, a spirit. So when you speak of God, what spirit, what energy are you evoking? That's my question to you today. When we go look at, of course, the earth was filled with void. What's void? The earth was void. Void is an empty space. It was vacant, right? And when we come down to creation, it says us. Us is plural. So we are speaking of a few people or bodies or beings coming together saying, let us do something, right? What is the something that had to be done? Let us create man in our own likeness and image. But then when people look at the concept of man today, they look at it as from a masculine perspective, when the truth of the matter is, in its original sense, man encompasses the masculine and the feminine energy. That's why in the 27th verse of Genesis, he says what? Let us create male and female man. Okay? I'm a male man. A sister would be a female man. But originally, she was the original man. And in her, masculine and feminine exist. Well, Chief, how can you prove that? Well, let me ask you a question. Once again, may I reiterate, who is the only being that could make a male and a female child? I mean, it's there in bold for everybody to see. But people read because they allow somebody else to tell them what it means, or give a definition or perspective. But I'm here giving you the etymology of the words. So go look at it for yourself. And then when you go read the Bible with a brother understanding, opposed to what your minister and your pastor is telling you. Okay? Now, if we even want to take it a step further, it also says that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and therefore the Word is God. It became God. So therefore, if your word is God, every time you speak, you are speaking God. You are evoking an energy. Now the question is, are you evoking a God that's given life, or are you evoking a God that's given death? Are you evoking God, or are you evoking Satan, which is a fallen God? That is the question. And when you go look at Genesis again, God gave man, there was a covenant between man and God. It says what? Go be fruitful and multiply and do what? Replenish the earth. So therefore, when we look at that word replenish, now you want to know where those other people came from? That Cain kind of like found a woman, a mysterious woman. Well, guess what? She wasn't mysterious. Because when you look at the word replenish, it means that something was already done. The earth already had people. But for some reason, the people that was on earth, they may have turned their back on the Most High, but they had done something that wasn't pleasing to the Most High. So the Most High had to do it again. Because from the very beginning, when the Most High created, the Most High said what? The Most High spake. The Most High spoke. And then it was. Let there be light. Let there be this. Let there be that. It was speaking life. So that's why I always tell people, watch your words. Because you see, your words could give life and your words could give death. It is up to you if you want to give life to your brothers and sisters. And it's also up to you if you want to give them death. So go look at the word replenish. It means to do, is what? To do. In fact, you know what? Let's go look at the etymology of replenish. Because, we don't want to assume things, right? So let's go look at the etymology of replenish. I'm going to look that up. Replenish.